And we're live! Welcome back! I'm back. Last week I was off, today I'm here. This is RockSim Live, and I'm Tim Van Milligan, and I'm your host. So thanks for coming today. I got a monitor over here. I got the chat going. So if you have questions today, and we're talking about RockSim Pro, or the Launch Visualizer, go ahead and put those questions in the chat, and I'll answer them, because that's what we're here today for, is to answer your questions. So we got some people already here. We got Carlos in Marietta, Georgia, and he says greetings from sunny Marietta, Georgia. Terry Wheelock's here, and Terry's from Texas. David Hayes from Michigan. And we have IT department, and he says, greetings from Greece. Oh, cool. I don't think we've ever had somebody from Greece here before. We've had Netherlands, Serbia, I think we've had Thailand. Yeah, some faraway places. So if you're watching, welcome. If you're watching this on a replay, we do this live on Friday afternoons. It's 2 p.m. Mountain Time Zone in the United States, 4 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's like 10 p.m. in the Netherlands. So if you're always welcome to join us, but if you can't and you're watching on the replay, that's fine. If you have questions and you're watching on replay, what you'll have to do is to send us an email, and we'll answer those questions the next time. So let's get started. Let's see, where am I? Oh, my head is, I have to make this a little bit, I have to adjust my camera settings here. There I am. Alright, so this is the Apogee website. This is where you get your RockSim software. It's apogeerockets.com, and there's this scrolling banner bar here, and when you click on the RockSim 11, it'll take you to this page where you can buy it. We lowered the price on RockSim 11, so it's a lot cheaper than it was before, but we wanted to get more people out there using it, so we're not making money on it, but it's so good we have to have customers using it, because safety and knowing about rocketry is important, and so that's our commitment here. This gives you an overview of the RockSim software, what's new in the latest release. Here you can download a free trial, discover how to use RockSim by going to our YouTube videos, the system requirements. All that quick information is right there. So that is kind of where you can start on using RockSim. We're doing today is RockSim Live. So if you go to the home page and you scroll down just a little bit to get to this RockSim training right here, just click on the image, and this will take you to the archives. And we are on episode 169 today. And so this is what we talked about the last time. And these are all timestamps here. So if there's something that interests you, you can just click on the timestamp. It will open up the YouTube video and take you right to that time in the video, so you don't have to go scrubbing through the whole video to find it. Yeah, so that's, this is all the episodes, and we've been talking about RockSim a long time. Terry Wheelock says RockSim is the best, and he gives 2 thumbs up and an American flag. Cool, thank you, Terry. We do have one question so far. Go ahead and put those questions in here, because this first question is going to be an easy one. And it's not a RockSim question. He says, Carlos in Marietta, Georgia says, has anyone tried to igniting composite motors using electric plasma like they use in the Zippo plasma lighters? We do sell an altimeter, and it's called a lightning bulb. I'm not sure if we have them in stock or not. We used to sell an altimeter called the Lightning Bug, and it was a plasma discharge. Let's see if I can find it under electronics and payloads. It was a dual deployment altimeter. I'm not seeing it so far. No, we must be out of stock. But we did have it, and basically it was just a regular wire, kind of like a speaker wire or igniter wire, and you would strip the ends of it and just leave two bare wires sticking up, and it would create that plasma arc. And it was used for igniting black powder like in an ejection charge, and for that it worked great. The advantage here is you didn't have to have special igniters, but you had to have this special altimeter to do it. But to answer your question, I don't know if anybody's tried to ignite composite propellant. It's a little bit more difficult to do than black powder. Black powder ignites easily. Composite propellant, it doesn't. It takes heat and pressure. Now with the plasma arc, you'll get heat, but I'm not sure you'll get any pressure. So I don't know. So that would be something that'd be interesting to play with. But very good question. I wish we still had them. They're fun little things. But it was basically a dual deployment altimeter. Let's see, David Hayes says, just a note on exporting simulation data. If you change the default file name from table, the file is saved as a text file, not a CSV. I'm moving simulation data into MS Access, and it took me a while to figure that out. Okay, so what is he talking about? Okay, so this is simulation data, like all this stuff right here. And you can export this out. If you right click on it, you can export out this as a table. And so by default it's called table.csv. And let me throw it on the desktop and hit save. And it says there's already one there. Let's call it table 1. I don't know what that other one is on the desktop. And then we'll go to my desktop. And what I'm looking for is, here's table 1. If I open it, let's see what it looks like. And what, for me, on the Macintosh, it's opening up a program called Numbers, which is very similar to Microsoft Excel. So this is a table, and you can see we got columns here, and it matches this table right here. So we have results, engine loaded, manufactured, max altitude. So results, engine loaded, manufactured, maximum altitude. Oops, I wanted to move this over so you can see it is a table with all kinds of data in it. And once you got it into a table, you can do sorting on it. I'm not sure, sort descending. So then it resorted. It's interesting, it's got ink here. So is that part of that table? I don't know. But anyway, that's what, the advantage of exporting it as a table is the formatting. You can change the formatting and you can sort things and things like that. So he's saying that if you change the name from table, cancel that. Delete. Okay, so if I do if I do export table, if I change the name, you got to watch the suffix here. The last part of the file name. It's .csv. So So if you just randomly change this to, flight data and hit save, I don't know if it's going to recognize it as a CSV format. It might just recognize it as a plain text file, which is what he's saying. Let's go back to the desktop. I don't know where I put it. Export table, I probably put it in someplace. I put it in the Macintosh hard drive. I didn't put it on the desktop. Let's go try it again. Flight data, save. Okay, and then go back to my desktop. So here's flight data, and if I open it up, yeah, it opens up as just plain text. Because it doesn't recognize that you wanted to separate it as a comma separated values is what CSV stands for. So make sure when you save it, you add the file extension .csv on the end. So I'm going to add it, and then if I open it up, and this time it does open it up in numbers. So that is how that works. And David says yes, if you specifically add the extension to the CSV file name, it will do it. It's just inconvenient. Yeah. Terry Wheelock says, can you make a square tube fin in RockSim? I just thought of a cool design. And then we have F.A. Abdallah, and he says, is RockSim free? Well, there's a free 30-day trial, but after that, it's $50. So you get it free for 30 days. So, square tube rocket. I have done this before. It is not easy, but it can be done. So let's start a new design. So I'm going to click the File New button here. Save my changes. I'm going to say no. Okay, so to start a design, we're going to work across these columns, or this row. So first, the design attributes, and we'll call it a square fin rocket. And that's all I need to change. So then we need to do a rocket design components. So we're going to start with a nose cone. And let's make it like a BT50 size, which is 24 millimeters. Click OK. Holy cow. I got to change something here. And my line width is all messed up because I was playing with that before. So under Preferences, under 2D Drawing, I'm going to use the default pen width here and click OK. And then you get a nice drawing. Alright, so now we're going to add a body tube to this. Add a body tube. And this is a 24 millimeter. Click OK. So there's the nose cone and the body tube. And let me make this screen bigger so you can see it and you're not distracted by what's going on underneath. So this is the editor for the body tube right here. And you can change the color, and I like to do that just to make sure that the colors are all cool looking. And the 3D color, let's make it orange. Click OK. Okay, so we got a nose cone and a body tube. Alright, so we're going to make square fins. Okay, so the way to do this, Terry, is you got to use pods. Okay, so a pod is a collection of parts that are on the outside of the rocket. So here is the pod part. So we're going to add a pod, and we're going to call it square fin. And I'm not going to eject it during the simulations. Right now the pod is located right here, and that's what the symbol is. And so we're going to move the location. We're going to add it to the back of the rocket right there. Let's see. And let's click OK. Alright, so now we're going to add components to this pod, and we're going to add fins. We're going to add 4 of them. Make that, we're going to add this is hard. Okay, so we're going to add a fin, and this is going to be let's call it a square fin. So I'm going to, first of all, when you ever start a new component, it looks in the database. So that's what it brought up. So I'm going to exit out of the database. And I'll make this screen bigger here. Okay, so we're going to start with a 1 fin, and the root cord, let's make it 2 inches, 3 inches long, not 23, 3 inches long. Tip cord, let's make that 3 inches as well. Sweep length, we're not going to sweep it, we're just going to make a square tube. So the semi-span, let's make that 2 inches. 2 inches? 2 inches. And the material is going to be balsa. Okay, so there's our first fin. So now the location, we need to make this longer. Oh, this is in centimeters. It's like, what the heck? Alright, so this was 3 inches. 3 inches. Okay, so that's looking better. And then this was going to be 2 inches. Okay, so there is my square, or my first fin. So now it's hanging over the back because of the location of the pod. We can adjust that later. So this is our first fin. And if we look at it in 3D, which is this button right here, select 3D, we can see our rocket. And we rotate it, we can see it looking like that. Okay. Okay, so now we can, I'm going to have to change something here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this fin. I see what I want to change. So if I look at it from a base view, so there's the fin. So I'm going to make this 2 fins. You can see now there's 2 coming here. And why am I in centimeters? I'm going to make this 1 inch. So now it's still 2 inches all the way, but now I'm going to spin it around so that it's horizontal. So I'll do that in the radial position. And I'm going to change that angle to 90 degrees. And see, basically what I did is just I flattened it. So now we're going to build 2 more or 3 more fins off of this. And let's change the color here, 3D color, let's make it green. And we'll make it a darker green here. Okay, so there's our start of the fin. So now when we look at it, you can see it like that. Alright, and now we're going to add a vertical fin to this panel. So we have to add another pod. Okay, so basically it says I can only add a pod to 1 fin, and that fin set has 2 fins, so we need to split them apart. And what it's telling me is that it's asking me, do I want to split them apart and make them 2 separate fins? I'm going to say yes. So when I do that, you'll notice back here I've got fin number 1 and fin number 2, and we're adding the pod to fin number 1, so that's the fin on this side. And again, this blue circle is the location. Let's put it in 2D. Let me move this screen. It's being cut off here. Make sure you can still see it all. Okay, let's change the view to a side view. Holy cow, we got something going on there. We'll have to fix that later too. Alright, so that's our pod, and we'll just leave it called a pod. So it's going to be attached right there. Well, when it split my fins, it split it weird. Okay, so I'm going to add a fin here to this pod. And it's always looking in the database, so I'm going to ignore that. And now I need to look at it from this view. It's still in centimeters. Okay, so the root cord is 3 inches. The tip cord, I think, is 3 inches. The semi-span is 2 inches. Look at it from 3D, see what's going on here. So this is centimeters again. I was like, why does it look so weird? 3 inches. Okay. Alright, so if I look at it, it looks weird. So ignore this one down here. We're looking at this one right here. And we need to change that from a 3 fin to a 1 fin. Alright, so that looks a lot better, right? I like it. And then we'll click OK. Alright, so now this other fin right here, I'm going to delete it because it's just ugly looking. Really delete that component? I'm going to say yes. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take this fin right here and I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it to this pod right here. And when I did, it put it in a funky location. And I don't like it, so I'm going to undo that by deleting it. Delete it, yes. Okay. First of all, I need to get back into my units of inches. So I'm going to go to the preferences, go to units, and length is inches. This way I don't want to have to keep changing everything. Alright, so now I need to get this other fin going across. So that's the pod. I'm going to add a fin to that. Cancel out of there. It's going to be a 1 fin. And the root cord is 3 inches, tip cord is 3 inches, and the semi-span was 1 inch. And why did it add it to the back? Yeah, it's like my geometry's wrong for some reason. I have to contact the programmer about that. Delete it. Yes. Okay, so we're going to try from this fin and try to build the box around it going the other direction. We'll go the cross, then down, and then that way. Okay, so let's add a pod to that. And we'll just call it a pod, although we don't want it to eject. Okay, so now we're going to add the fin, cancel, and it's going to be a 1 fin, 3 inches, 3 inches, semi-span 2 inches. Okay, so you see it did add it, so now we just need to rotate it around, so we're going to do that in the radial position. We're going to build it this way, so it's going to be minus 90 degrees. See, it's starting to take shape. Okay, click OK. Alright, so we're going to add a pod to this one. And we're not going to eject it. Click OK. Add the fin to that pod. Hit cancel. Alright, so this is going to be a 1 fin again. 3 inches, 3 inches, semi-span 2 inches. Okay, so we need to rotate it around. This time it's going to be 90 degrees this way. So it's minus 180. And then I can click OK. So you see what my box fin is looking like. So we just need to add the one last one. So again, I'm going to add a pod. I'm not going to eject it. Click OK. And to the pod, we're going to add the last fin. And I'm going to cancel out of that database. Make it a 1 fin. 3 inches. 3 inches. And then the semi-span is 1 inch. Okay, where did it put it? Let's bring out the radial position. And there it is. It kind of got hidden there. So we need to make it, swing it around that way, like a barn door. So it's going to be 90 degrees. Okay, so now we have a rocket with a square tube fin. It took a little while. We added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because of some little error in the geometry. It lost its reference point, and I will contact the programmer about that to see if we can get that fixed. So now let's save this, and I'm going to save it in Rocket Design, and I'll call it a square fin rocket. Hit save. Let's see if we can duplicate this on the other side of the rocket. So I'm going to select this right here. We're going to do a copy, and then we're going to paste it to here. And if it works right, it should paste it exactly in the same spot. So now we're going to open up that fin. We're going to go to the radial position tab, and I always look at it from the rear view. And let's swing this around. So it's going to be 180 degrees. And there we go. So duplicating the fin is easy. Creating the fin is hard, but it can be done. So let's save that again. Let's put an engine mount and fly this thing, right? So let's put an inside tube into here. We might as well do the whole thing, right? Let's put an 18mm engine tube in there, and let's look at it from the side view. Okay, so this blue tube is our engine mount tube. Let's make the length 3 inches, and let's put it at the base of the owning part. It's hanging out the back minus 0.5 inches, so it hangs out the back a little bit. This is a motor mount tube, so we'll check that box. Let's make the color red, and over here we'll make it this lighter blue color. Click OK. So you can see we're starting to put it in there. We need some centering rings. So let's add our centering rings. Let's collapse all of these fins. So here's the body tube. That's the engine mount tube. Let's change the name of that so we know what it is. Click OK. Okay, so now let's add some centering rings. So select the body tube, come over here to rings, centering ring, and we'll just cancel out of that. So right now it's right here, and we'll make the thickness of that ring 1/4 of an inch and change the location from the base of the part to 0 inches. And so it moved it right here. Material, let's call it paper. Click OK. Alright, so that's the aft ring. Let's do this. Let's copy it and paste it. Copy. And then select the tube and hit paste. And so it pasted it right on top. So we'll move one of these. Let's move the top one. We'll call it the front centering ring, and then we'll change the location just by sliding it here. So what we did was just slided it from here to here, and that looks okay. You notice our center of pressure looks pretty good right now. Okay, let's add a parachute. So here's a parachute, and this time from the database, let's do a 15-inch parachute, and it's very thick, 0.2. So the mass of that parachute is 5.33, 15-inch outside diameter. Let's make the color red. I like that color. Let's change the location. Right now it's interfering with the nose cone. So let's change the location right here. Just slide it back into the middle of the tube. I think that's okay. It says the mass override is on. Okay, so that's clicked OK. So there's our parachute. You can add a shock cord. So again, to add a shock cord, there's no button for shock cord, but we'll use what's called a mass object, which is anything that doesn't have a defined shape. We'll cancel out of the database, and we'll change the name to shock cord. And we'll change the classification from general to shock cord. And now for the material, we'll select the material. Let's go with 100-pound Kevlar. Change the length to, I don't know, we want a pretty long shock cord. 49, let's call it 48 inches. The location right now is right here. Let's move it back to here. Let's change the color to yellow, and the 3D color to that yellowish color. Okay, so there's our mass object, which is the shock cord. Okay. Alright, so reset camera and zoom in. Close that. So I just wanted to get a better view of our rocket. Let's save it again, and I think we're ready to launch a simulation. So we'll go prepare for launch. So there's the back end of the rocket with our square tube fins. And let's choose an engine. And let's go with an Estes C6. Let's try a 5. Engine overhang, 0.5 inches. Click OK. You can see it loaded the engine, and if I look here on the back, here's the rocket engine right there. So that looks good. Flight events, deploy the parachute to maximum ejection state, starting state. Make our launch rod 36 inches, and we'll launch it straight up. We got a 700-foot altitude, which is kind of like Iowa. Wind, let's make the wind like 5 miles an hour. And click flight profile. And let's see what this thing launches. It looks like it's working. I know it's going to go 1,382 feet. So there's our rocket sitting here on the pad. And we'll launch it. It's going up. It's looking okay. It's arcing over a little bit. Not too bad. Oop, it ejected a little early. That's okay. And then it's coming down under parachute. Alright, that looks pretty good. So let's save this one more time. And I think I want to share this with you. So to share it, I'm going to go open the launch visualizer. And let me open up a new window. File, new window. And it opened it up over here on that screen. We'll go to RockSim.com. This will allow us to upload. Okay, so I'm going to log in into my own personal account. And we're going to upload a new rocket. And we're going to click on the Browse button. So we're going to find the file that we just created. So I put it into my Designs folder. There it is. And what do we call it? A square fin rocket. Click open. And we're going to upload it. And it's just going to take a second to upload. And I'm going to grab something to drink. Okay, so there is my rocket sitting on the launch pad. And let's run another simulation. So we got to choose a launch site. The default launch site is Pueblo, Colorado, where I launch rockets from. So here is Pueblo, Colorado, and if I zoom out, eventually, here's the state of Colorado. And let's choose a launch site somewhere. Let's see, my daughter is in Virginia today. I'm not exactly sure where. I think she's close to Danville or Greensboro. So I'm doing this to say, hey, I'm thinking of you, daughter. So I'm zooming in and I'm looking for something grassy. I'm seeing a lot of trees. Not seeing a lot of... And something happened. My computer froze. Yeah, there we go. There's a river. Oh, here's some grass. I don't know who owns this land, but they got a pool right there. I said, this looks like a nice launch light. We're going to launch right there. So you double click on this. And I'm going to say confirm that launch site. And when you do confirm the launch site, it just grabs the coordinates. And this is somebody's private yard. I don't care. You can launch anywhere you want. So we're going to launch it straight up. So we'll leave that alone. We'll go into launch conditions. Let's change the wind to a steady wind of 5 miles an hour coming out of the west. We'll click OK. Let's see, our rocket motor, we're going to choose an engine. That's the C6-5. Engine overhang 0.5. Okay, so it added the motor, flight events. We're going to deploy the parachute at maximum injection delay. And we'll just, underneath my face here was the launch button, which you can't see. And I'm going to simulate that. Alright, so it's loading our rocket, and it's loading the launch site. So if I zoom out, so there's the pool. Our rocket's sitting right there, so here's that house. The rocket is right there where my pointer is. And let's launch it. And so the rocket takes off. It's going up. It's in the air right now, and it's buried behind all this smoke. So right there, if I zoom in, we'll see the rocket coming down with our square fins. Whoops, I lost the rocket. Let's add some trajectory path, and let's see the extruded flight path, and click OK. So now if I zoom out, the green line right there is the trajectory. So right now the parachute came out here and it's descending. zoom out a little bit more so you can see the ground path right here. The rocket is right there, and I'm going to speed things up along by grabbing the bar right here. And it looks like we landed in a little bit of a tree. Yeah, we landed in that clump of trees. We didn't select the launch site very well, did we? That's the purpose of the launch visualizer, is, you know, to really help you to pick that launch site so you get your rocket back, because if it's landed in a tree, that's not the neatest thing in the world. So down here we call the mini view, and this shows you know, a close-up view of the rocket. So let's kind of replay that. Let's change our trajectory to this view right there. And let's turn off the curtain. That is the extruded flight path. Click OK. So the red line is the ground path. The green line is the trajectory. And this is in 3D, so you know, you can move the rocket around, you know, and change the orientation, you know, get a perspective on how high your rocket's really going. What are these over here? It kind of looks like solar panels. Bet you those are. Alright, so then our rocket's going to land down there in those trees. Alright, so I'm going to share this with you. So I'm going to click share, and I'm going to copy that file, and I'm going to put it in the chat and hit return. Okay, so what I just put into the chat is the link so you can play with this simulation and see the square-finned rocket that we just made. So it is possible to make square-finned rockets. It just takes a little bit of effort. Let's see what else we got going on here. Carlos says, question number 2. I'm doing a lot of payload experiments. Can RockSim calculate the maximum G that a 1 ounce payload will experience in flight? Yes. In fact, when you run a simulation, it will tell you the maximum acceleration. So if I go to configure column, and let's see, I'm looking for acceleration. Maximum acceleration, add that column, click OK. So here, okay, so here's the maximum acceleration. On that rocket that we just did, it was 39.4 Gs. So if you put a 1 ounce payload in your rocket, it's going to make the rocket fly slower, but the acceleration of the payload and the acceleration of the rocket are identical. So if you were in RockSim, again, it's going to be in these columns right here, and if you want to see it, just do a right click with your mouse, and you see it brings up this thing that says organize column. Click on that, and I can click maximum acceleration, click OK, and so here's the maximum acceleration, and I can move this column around. I'll just click, hold it, and drag it. I'll just move it right there so you can see it a little bit easier. So that particular flight, it went to 23.68 Gs. So that's pretty easy to do. Terry Wheelhawk says, I have determined 2 different ways. Are there others? I don't know. I don't know which 2 ways you thought of, but there's always a million ways to do things. So Mark Sell says, I want to see the launch simulation on this one. I had problems simulating my Xmas tree because the candle pods. So I ran a simulation and it worked. So I don't know what's going on with your Christmas tree, but yeah, sometimes pods, like we saw, so this is the pod. Sometimes, you know, when we first started designing this, the one fin, when we had two fins instead of one, was staggered. And that's an error, and something that I'm going to talk to the programmer about. But sometimes you can kick off errors, and there's a lot of math going on here when we're designing things like this that are crazy. Terry Wheelock says, "You the man." Well, thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. David Hayes says, "Nicely done, Tim." David Hayes says, "Can you post a copy of that design somewhere just for fun?" So right now I posted it. I shared a simulation, so I would have to upload the file to the Apogee website. I'll tell you what we'll do. So I will put this design file on the Apogee website, and to find it, go back to the home page and scroll down here to the RockSim training, right here, the free training. Click on that link, and that will take you to our episodes. And so next week, when we post the show notes for this episode, I will put a link somewhere in here for that RockSim file, so you can download it from this page right here. So I'm going to do that. Terry Wheelock says, "This is why everyone should get RockSim, because you can do cool things with it." And I agree. David Hayes says, "Is the square fin design posted where we can download it to RockSim 10? Like I said, you can download it when we get it posted here next week. It's not today. Give us some time. But we will post it to our website. And I believe you should be able to open it in RockSim 10. We didn't change anything in 10, although, here's the caveat. We fixed a lot of bugs from RockSim 10, and so pods might cause some problems, but if you follow the procedure that I did, and you rebuild it like I just did, you can, it should work. You know, because this is basically the same stuff that we've done in RockSim 10. Okay, so that was a very cool. You made me work. Where'd my RockSim go? RockSim, here we go, RockSim. And you can do some fun stuff with this. So, for example, let me. I'm going to delete this one here. I'm going to delete one side. Okay, so I'm going to delete it, and it's asked me sure. I'm going to say yes. So we deleted one side. And let's modify this one over here. So I want to make, come on, I'm waiting for it to catch up to me. I want to make it so that it's, so the front end is not perpendicular. We'll make it slanted. So let's go. I know the first one is the one against the tube. So we want this side one right here. So if you highlight the fin you want, and okay, so we're going to open that fin, and now this time we're going to slant it. So we're going to make the tip cord, let's call it 2 inches, and we're going to sweep it 1 inch. So we swept one side like that, and let's click OK. And now we'll do this side, and we'll do the same thing. The tip cord, we'll make that 2 inches and sweep it 1 inch. That's weird. It should have swept it the other direction. I think I know why, because we changed the radial position. So we got to go backwards. So our tip cord has to be 3 inches, and the root cord has to be 2 inches, and the sweep length is -1. I keep thinking that's 3-dimensional. That's not 3-dimensional. Okay, so we got it in the right direction, but we got the location in the wrong spot. So, to fix that, I'll click OK. I'm gonna save this one as a different name. Save as, I'm gonna call it slanted square fin rocket. Okay, so now this fin right here, I'm going to go to the pod, and I'm going to change the location of the pod, see if that will work. So right now, here's the location of the pod, and let's move it back 1 inch, and click OK. Okay, so that worked. All right, so now there's that stupid fin again. Okay, so now let's change this one. Okay, so that fin right there, and we're going to make both the tip cord and the root cord 2 inches, and I keep thinking that's 3-dimensional. See, it's in the wrong location again. So again, we're going to have to change the location where it attaches to the pod. And so then we'll go to the pod. Is that the right one? Click on the fin. Okay, so that's that pod. And we'll change the location 1 inch. See what happened? When I changed that one, it moved that one. All right, well, we know how to fix that. Let's change the color of this too. Okay. Okay, so now this fin, its pod, edit that pod, and the location. So we're playing with this fin right there. I think we're back to 0. Yep, we're back to 0. Okay, so that's that fin. I wanted to change the color. Let's go purple. Just so that you can see that you can colorize your rocket. Okay, so now let's fix this last fin right here. So I want that green one right there. So, oops, click OK. I'm in the wrong screen. Okay, so click on the green fin, and then let's go to its pod, and let's change, let's go -1 inch. Yep, that worked. Click OK. And this other fin over here on this side, let's change the color of that one. So we gotta find it. So just click on it. And double click up here. And let's change its color. We'll also make that purple. Purple. Wait for the drawing to catch up. Come on. There we go. Some kind of remnant going on here. But I know it's attached right there, and it should be, you know, I know it's a square fin. Alright, so we got a slanted square fin. And now let's duplicate that. So we're going to copy it. I'm going to paste it to the body tube. Paste. And then, so here it is. And then we need to edit the pod and rotate it around. So let's look at it from the rear view. Go to the radial position. I'll make it 180. Click OK. Alright, so there's our slanted square finned rocket. Let's save that. Maybe I'll put that one in the show notes as well. Terry Wheelock says, now make a triangle fin rocket. Yes, you can do the triangle fin. It's the same process, I guarantee you. The only thing when you change those radial angles, you're going to, instead of making it 90 degrees in the corner, you're going to make it 60 degrees. And then you will get a triangle fin rocket. Guaranteed. Marcel says, maybe we need a small dot to locate the pod attachment point. I see what you're saying. You know, in the 2D drawing we have the locations, but in 3D we don't. That's an idea, Mark. It's a really good idea, actually. All right. We're coming close to 3 o'clock, and I don't see any other questions that I didn't answer. So again, if you are watching this on replay, you can email us your questions. So just go to the Apogee website to email us a question. On every page you have this box here that says talk to a real person, and right below it says contact form. So click on that, and this is our contact page. And you can send it to various emails. So if you have a question, click on the info, that. It's actually a menu. And you can say launch visualizer questions, RockSim general questions right here. So you can send it to there, enter your name and your email address, type in your subject like RockSim live question, and then type in your question. And then you're going to need to do the CAPTCHA right here to prove that you're a real person, and then send now. And those messages will get to me, and then I will be able to talk about them next week in our next session. Okay, so it's 3 o'clock. We've been here an hour. It's very, very nice to see you all again. I missed you last week. I was out of town at a conference, but it was, I was thinking about you. I said, man, if I was back at home right now, I'd be doing RockSim Live. And I enjoyed doing it, so it was fun. We are scheduled for next week. I'm just trying to think. So next week is June 14th, the 21st, the 28th. The July 5th, which is the day after Independence Day here in the United States, I think we'll probably not have it that day, since a lot of you might be gone, a lot of us might be gone. So anyway, so next week we'll be here, same time, 2 p.m. Mountain Time or 4 p.m. on the East Coast, 3 p.m. Central Time, Friday afternoon, June 14th. So until then, I'm going to give you a countdown and launch. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go out and launch something.